If you have a fair shop that's already making some sales, but the orders are still inconsistent, retailers aren't reordering, and you still cannot figure out why, I need you to hear this. It's not because you're not working hard enough, and it's not because your products aren't good enough. It's because you're flying blind. And there is data sitting in your fair dashboard right now telling you exactly what's working and what's broken. But no one has ever taught you how to read it. And so you spend time just guessing. I know because I've been there. And you change random things and hope something sticks. And here's what that guessing actually cost you. The average fair seller doing around 10 orders a month is leaving somewhere between $17,000 and $70,000 in profit on the table every single year just by staying stuck. My name is Andee, and I built and scaled my own wholesale brand on Fair from the ground up. And I'm one of a handful of sellers and industry experts that Fair pulls in to test the platform, which means I see how the algorithm actually behaves, not what the forums and the other coaches are teaching you, but what Fair actually rewards. And I took everything I learned and turned it into the Fair 5 framework. It's a 3-phase system that moves you from inconsistent orders to a predictable wholesale revenue engine in just 90 days. It's visibility, it's positioning, it's conversion, it's reorders, and a momentum that compounds. So this is not just a course that you watch once and forget. It's a growth operating system. Just a few extra wholesale orders, which you will gain quickly throughout this program, will more than pay for this course. So if you're done playing small and fair, if you're ready to stop guessing and go beyond the visibility and drive real conversions and reorders and get help along the way, learn more and apply at fairaccelerator.com or at the link in the show notes. I'll see you inside. Hi, friends. Welcome to She Sells Differently, the show for aspiring women entrepreneurs looking to overcome the fear of selling and grow thriving businesses from a place of authenticity and confidence. I'm Andee Hart, and it wasn't all that long ago that I was a sales executive for a Fortune 500 company. But I knew in my heart that I was called to use my gifts for something more, something different. That's exactly why I created the She Sells Differently podcast. Each episode is going to deliver you business strategies, tools, and mindset shifts to help set you and your brand apart from our culture's expectations. It's time to elevate your sales and build a profitable, sustainable business you're proud of, one built on integrity, grace, and humility. It's time to learn how to sell differently. Hey there, welcome to the She Sells Differently podcast. This is the show for product-based business owners who are done with the one-off hustle and ready to grow something that actually gives back. My name is Andee Hart, and if you've ever done the math on your own hourly rate and then immediately close the calculator because it made you a little sick, then this episode is for you. Because here's where I see so many product makers get stuck. You've got a beautiful product line, you're selling online, maybe at weekend markets. First couple of wholesale accounts, maybe you have some great retailers, but you've hit a ceiling, and not because you're out of ideas, but because you're out of hours. You are the maker, the dreamer, the shipper, the customer service department, the bookkeeper, marketer, and the CEO. And that last job, the one that actually grows the business, well, that keeps on getting pushed to the back burner. So today I'm walking you through 3 things: why you're really stuck, the wrong first hire almost everyone makes, and then the right one, plus exactly how to afford it and what to hand off first. And this is a short episode, but it might be the one that gives you your evenings back. So let's get into it. Let me tell you about a product maker that I've worked with before. Her name is Jess, and she makes home fragrance products, beautiful products. She's gotten to about $6,000 a month between her Shopify store and weekend markets. And on paper, that's amazing. She was really proud of it, as she should have been. But when I asked her how she was doing, she didn't say great. She said, "I'm so tired, I can't think straight." Whew, that resonated with me. I've been there. And when we actually looked at her week, here's what we found. Out of roughly 50 working hours, she was spending maybe 6 of them on the things that actually move her business forward. 6. The other 44, she was pouring candles, labeling, packing orders, driving to the post office, answering the same 3 messages, recounting inventory, wrestling with her market booth. And here's the part that we often miss. None of that work was actually growing her business. It was just running it. And there's a massive difference. Growing work is you designing the next collection. It's you emailing a boutique owner. It's you deciding your wholesale pricing. Running work is everything that keeps the lights on but doesn't move the needle an inch. We're talking about things like packing, shipping, data entry. And when you're a solopreneur, you tell yourself the running work is the business, but it isn't. It's the thing eating the business alive, because every hour you spend at that shipping station is an hour you're not spending on the 2 things that only you can do: creating the product line and building the relationships that sell it. And that's the trap that we often find ourselves in. It doesn't feel like a trap because it truly feels productive to us, but you're busy. And we glorify busy in our culture. You're shipping orders, that's real, but busy isn't the same as growing. And this client of mine wasn't capped by her market. She still had a lot of room to grow. She was capped by her calendar. And you cannot out hustle a calendar problem. You can only hire your way out of it. So here's where I stop you before you make the same mistake that I first made and that I see all the time. When a product business owner finally admits they need help, you know who they reach for first? A marketing person or a sales rep who's going to go land all those wholesale accounts for them, someone to grow the business, because growth is the goal, right? So we hire for growth. And I get that logic, and I want you to hear me. I think it's backwards, and here's why. The growth work, the buyer relationships, the brand voice, the product vision, the pricing, that is the work only you can do right now because you're the founder. A boutique owner isn't buying a faceless brand. In these early wholesale stages, what they're buying is you and your story. And you can't hand your relationships to a stranger before you've even built the system for them. And a marketing hire with no strategy to plug into just becomes one more person that you have to manage. Now you've added a job to your plate, managing an employee on top of all the other things that you're doing. And that's not relief. It's just a heavier version of stuck. And so here's the reframe, and I want you to write this one down. Your first hire's job is not to do the work that only you can do. It's to take away the work anyone could do so that you can finally go do the work only you can do. That flips the whole question. You're not hiring to grow the business. You're hiring someone to free up the person who grows the business. And that's you, my friend. So the real question isn't, who can I hire to make me more money? It's, what am I doing right now that is stealing me from the money-making work? Now, that doesn't mean that you're never going to hire for growth. We're just talking about your first hire. And here's the one simple audit that you can do. I call it the only you audit. I want you to take your week and sort every task into 2 columns. Column 1 is only me. These are the things that genuinely require you, the CEO, the maker, the face of the brand, designing product, talking to buyers, setting price and strategy, creative and relationship work, all of that. It's the things that only you can do. And column 2 is anyone with a checklist. This is everything a trained person could do just as well as you if you handed them clear instructions. These are things like packing orders, shipping, order entry, inventory counts, always answering routine customer emails, scheduling, data entry, prepping your markets. Because here's the reality, and this might sting a little bit. Your second column is probably 70 or 80% of your week, and none of it has your name on it. It only has your name on it because you never handed it to anyone else. That column 2, you just wrote your first hire's entire job description. So let's name it plainly. Your first hire is not a marketer, not a salesperson. Your first hire is an operations and fulfillment helper. Call it an ops assistant, ops manager, production and shipping assistant, part-time VA. The title doesn't matter. What matters is the role. They take everything in column 2 off of your plate, so your hours go back to developing products and relationships. And I already know the objection because I hear it every time. You might be saying, Andee, I can't afford to pay someone else. I'm barely paying myself. And I want to gently take that apart because it's costing you more than you think. First, you're not hiring a full-time salaried employee. You're starting with 5 to 10 hours a week. A local part-timer who wants a few afternoons, a college student, a virtual assistant for the admin and customer service pieces. This is a couple $100s a month, not a payroll department. Second, run the actual math because this is where it clicks. Let's say you value your time at even $50 an hour. And as the person who designs the product and lands the accounts, you're worth a whole lot more than that. And if you're spending 8 hours a week packing and shipping, that's the equivalent of $400 of your time going into work. You could pay someone $18 an hour to do it beautifully. You are quite literally spending your most expensive hours on your cheapest task. And here's the part that will reframe everything. You don't hire because you've made it. You hire so that you can make it. The help isn't the reward at the finish line. It's the only thing that gets you there. And so every established brand that you admire has made this trade earlier than they felt comfortable. And that's not a coincidence. So here's how you start this week without it being scary. I want you to hand off one thing first. Not everything, just one. I'd pick fulfillment, maybe packaging and shipping. It's the most physical, most repeatable, most time-heavy task, and it's the easiest to teach with a simple checklist and photo of what a finished order looks like. You write the checklist once, you train once, and you buy back your single biggest block of time immediately. Then as your trust grows, you hand off the next thing in column 2, and then the next. Every task you release, you pour back into product and buyers, the growth work. And that's how the business finally starts to grow. Not because you found more hours in the day, because you finally spent the hours you had on the work that actually mattered. So bringing it home, 3 things. 1, you're not capped by your market or your strategy. You're capped by your calendar because you're spending most of your week on work that runs the business instead of grows it. 2, your first hire is not a marketer or a salesperson. That's the only work you can do right now. Notice I said right now. Your first hire takes away the anyone with a checklist work. So you're now freed up to do the things that matter. 3, you can afford it. You start with a few hours a week. You run the real math on your own time, and you hand off one task first. You didn't build this to be the maker, the shipper, and the everything at 10:47 on a Tuesday night. You built it for freedom, and this is how you start taking it back. If you're ready to stop being the bottleneck in your own business and finally build the wholesale side that grows without you doing every single thing, that's exactly the work I do inside the Fair Accelerator. It gets your Fair shop to 10K plus months consistently without relying on the seasonal spikes. We'd love for you to join us. So grab the link in the show notes and check it out. That's it for today. Until next week, I'll have another episode for you on Wednesday. And until then, I'm cheering you on. All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of She Sells Differently. Friends, it would be a huge blessing to me if you would take 2 seconds to rate and subscribe to my podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Until then, I'm cheering you on in your entrepreneurial journey. See you next time.